Nigeria on paper.
Nigeria on paper does not deserve to be in this playoff spot. Nigeria on paper deserves to be home, and Madagascar should be there.
I read that LinkedIn story and I was like, yo, like, what if I really trained hard to play for Haiti?
Yeah.
Nigerians, you heard it. The Ghanaian boy telling y'all.
Chips with me, bro.
I will say the most pressure's on Nigeria by far. It's not even close. Y'all better get it together.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of 5ASIDE on beIN Sports. We know what African teams are going to the World Cup, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. So, I'll start with some basic information for the viewers. Africa has 9 automatic World Cup spots for 2026, plus 1 potential playoff spot. So today, all of the teams that are going to the World Cup that qualified directly in their groups are going through. Those teams are Algeria, Cape Verde, Egypt, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Morocco, Senegal, South Africa, and Tunisia, with 1 more spot available through a playoff. The teams that are in the playoff spots are Gabon, Nigeria, Congo, and my home country, Cameroon. So the first thing we have to speak about are some of the qualified nations. Your guys' thoughts on the North African nations. They've dominated once again. Most of them got through. Egypt, Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco. Heritage from the North African countries. What do you guys have to say about the fact that they are always present in these spots?
Yeah, I can say that they just proved their dominance by having all 4 of the North African countries making it. That just shows how much talent is in that portion of the continent. And to have the most representation ever from Africa in the World Cup, I think it's only right that North Africa also has their most representation ever.
Good to see Mahrez back in the World Cup, man. I'll definitely say to see Algeria back in the stage. You know, one reporter asked him if he's going to plan to be even at, for future World Cups. He said he's not Ronaldo, so he's focusing on the moment, and honestly, to see what they've done within AFCON as well within the past 5 to 10 years. Listen,
I'll never forget that Mahrez free kick versus Nigeria.
That's why,
crazy.
He's built for moments.
For sure.
Kendrick, you were saying something.
I was going to say, one of the things that I feel like sneakily went untalked about was the fact that Tunisia went unbeaten in qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
They won 9 games, only drew 1, and they scored 22 goals and conceded 0. And I think, I've never seen a stat line like that in qualifying. I'm not saying they had the strongest group ever, but regardless of who you're going up against, to concede 0 goals, outscore your opponents 22-0. Tunisia might be a team to talk about.
Dark horse for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. Speaking of teams to talk about, speaking of teams making history, Cape Verde, potentially the smallest nation ever to make a World Cup. The island nation, it's made up of several islands that create one country, have qualified for their first ever World Cup, topping a group with Cameroon, a country that has been to the most World Cups out of Africa. It's historic. We saw the celebrations in Praia when they won. They were saying that tickets were going like gold dust in the city. Guys, what are your thoughts on Cape Verde and this historic qualification?
For me, it's funny. I was talking to a coworker about it. It wasn't that surprising if you've been following AFCON in the previous years. So they made it to the quarterfinals in 2023. They beat Ghana that year. I think they tied Egypt in a 2-2 crazy game, and they shocked the world 2 years ago. And so for folks who have been following African football, you've been following AFCON, they've been on the come up. So it's just, for me, it's not a surprise, and it's just more happiness and celebration to see it actually happen.
Yeah, and what I'll say from the U.S. perspective is it's been so beautiful to see the diaspora celebrating this win. My girlfriend grew up around a bunch of Cape Verdeans in Massachusetts. There's a ton there, a ton in Providence, Rhode Island. So to see them have this much representation of their country now in the World Cup and how fast this happened after the AFCON, I just think it's incredible to see.
And I'll say the story of how Cape Verde even got some of the players on their team is incredible. There are stories about how players were found on LinkedIn. Their captain said that
that's an ad right there.
He didn't even speak Portuguese before he came to the team. Coaches found him on LinkedIn. Cape Verde is one of the teams in the world with some of the most representation in terms of players that play in different countries and never played in Cape Verde before. So it's kind of just a testament to how a team with a mindset of we're going to try and find the best talent that could possibly play for us, bring them together, create a sustainable project, and over 5, 6, 7 years, make a World Cup as one of the smallest countries to ever do it.
That LinkedIn story, literally, I read that LinkedIn story and I was like, yo, what if I really trained hard to play for Haiti?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Low key, I'm gonna post my videos on LinkedIn, bro.
I want to see it.
It might happen.
And then lastly, Josh, you have to talk about your country. You guys aren't going to AFCON, but you're going to a World Cup. Ghana is in the 2026 World Cup.
Birds like to soar, but you can't soar like the stars. No.
That's tough.
That's the bar right there.
That's it right there. Some of the continent's biggest teams made it, so we have to speak about countries like South Africa, countries like Ghana, Ivory Coast. Some countries did not automatically qualify, though. And as I said, Gabon, Congo, Cameroon, and Nigeria have a playoff battle to get into the World Cup. What are your guys' predictions for those 4 teams?
But they have to win how many games?
They have to win 2 within Africa and then 2 within the intercontinental playoff in Mexico in March. So it'd have to be you whoever qualifies in this playoff spot won 4 straight single elimination knockout games.
And what does need to be said is that more spots and more leeway does need to be given to Africa. I'm confident saying that on beIN Sports. That needs to be said. What I think is fascinating, and there's a little bit of controversy that I want to bring up, and one thing that I think is almost inexcusable is from a Congolese perspective. Most Congolese people, in my opinion, should be a little bit upset because their goalkeeper that they fielded against Senegal in a must-win match had not played a professional game in over 129 days. So the difference between him and me on that field is very small.
That's not how it works.
Me sitting in this chair, I have just about as much recent match experience as him going into an international must-win game.
It was factually true.
That is a true statement.
It is factually true. It is a factually correct.
And it shouldn't be a factually true statement.
I get your
going into a must-win game to go to a World Cup.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I think people should be aware of. Another crazy thing is a game that Gabon had to win. Aubameyang scored 4 goals in, but then unfortunately got a red card. So the stories that are happening in Africa in terms of teams needing to qualify and the amount of heated pressure that goes into these matches is just a perfect advertisement for an African tournament that's coming up very soon, which is AFCON in the winter in December, which you can watch on beIN Sports. But Kendrick, predictions. Who's going through? Nigeria, Gabon, Cameroon, or Congo?
You know Kendrick's country, man. Yeah.
Nah, I mean, I think you're talking about Congolese being upset. I think Nigerians should be more upset. I mean, I think all the Nigerians I've been encountering are happy and they're like, oh yeah, like we made it to the playoffs. Da, da, da. They should have dominated that group with the talent that they have on that team. And so for me, I think it would be a huge loss for them, just for the African continent in general, to not have Nigeria represented at the World Cup, especially because of all that they can do with the talent on their team and how far they can make it. So although I'm disappointed, I do hope they go through. I think I'm gonna go with Nigeria. I'm gonna go with Nigeria.
This is his country, bro.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the upset. I think Gabon is gonna get it done. Aubameyang will not get the red cards, but he will get the goals. Dennis Bouanga will continue to get the goals, and I think that strike partnership will prove some history and make it out that extremely tough for African teams in that playoff.
You know me, as a Cameroonian, I think it's obvious that Cameroon is going to go through. Cameroon, again, has the most history in terms of African teams going to the World Cup, with 8 appearances at the World Cup. No other African team could say that.
You trust Mbeumo?
I
trust Onana?
I trust history. I trust legacy. I trust history and I trust legacy.
Boy,
Cameroon will find a way. 4 wins, the Indomitable Lions. That nickname is not given to us for no reason.
They are indomitable, so.
That nickname is not given to Cameroon for no reason. The legacy that the team has, and the amount of top Cameroonians playing at top teams right now, we're probably the best team. No, it's high.
No,
it's
they
very
have
high.
squad.
It's very high. It's very high. Cameroon is probably the best team on paper out of those 4, and probably has the most high level experience.
That's insane.
Nigeria on paper.
Nigeria on paper does not deserve to be in this playoff spot. Nigeria on paper deserves to be home, and Madagascar should be there. If we're being honest. But anyways. Speaking about honesty, let's give. Yeah, go ahead.
Who you got advancing out of the African playoff?
I'm rooting for West Africa.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Nigeria's in West Africa.
That's nice.
Come on.
Yes, the Lions gonna eat this.
Cameroon will go through.
Hold on.
Let me tell you something.
Lions gonna eat the Super
They're
Eagles.
gonna be sitting home chopping.
Yes.
Nigerians, you heard it. The Ghanaian boy telling y'all.
Chopping plantain chips with me, bro. Bro, we're on the couch together. Come watch. Tonight I said, well, come watch with me, bro. Come watch the games.
Okay. I will say the most pressure's on Nigeria by far. It's not even close. Y'all better get it together.
They're losing to Gabon.
Yeah.
I'm not even getting to the second round is my prediction.
Yeah.
They don't deserve
what I
it. It's
have.
undeserved.
I
It's
agree.
Undeserved.
Listen, I'm with you.
It's undeserved.
I'm with you, brother.
Moving on, super quick predictions out of the teams that have qualified to the World Cup from African nations. Who do you guys think will do the best? It's way too early, but you know, 5ASIDE, we like to talk. So, what are your guys' predictions on which African team will do the best in the World Cup? And how far can an African team go this time around?
I mean, I'll be say the most obvious one, or like the internet's favorite right now is Senegal.
Yeah.
They got an insane lineup. Just to name a few, they got Edouard Mendy, my favorite goalkeeper in the world, who's currently playing for Al Ahly. Nicholas Jackson, who's at Bayern. Iliman Ndiaye, who's at Everton. Sadio Mane at Al Nassr. Ismaili Sarr at Crystal Palace. Idrissa Gueye at Everton, former PSG star. Papa Sarr at Tottenham. Koulibaly at Al Hilal.
Yep.
The list goes on. They have a ton of players who are starters at some of the top teams in the world. I'm predicting like quarterfinals, maybe even semifinals.
So Senegal?
For Senegal. I think they're gonna shock
That'd
the
be beautiful
world.
to see.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Egypt. I think they have one of the best strike partnerships in the world with Omar Marmoush and Mohamed Salah. One thing he hasn't done has been able to take his national team as far as he's taken his club team. I think they could have a similar run to Morocco and make a quarter semifinal.
Yeah, like I said, Black Star is going to soar. 5th consecutive World Cup. 2nd time we ever were in the tournament. We touched quarterfinals. We got Kudus in form, Semenyo in form. It's a lot going on. So honestly, we got the best kits of the continent.
That's fair.
We have the best performance to match.
For me, I think a team that's going under the radar but has finally gotten back to where they belong is South Africa. This is their first World Cup appearance since they last hosted in 2010, and it's a team that's made up of a lot of players that play in the country. A South African team that shocked the world recently was Mamelodi Sundowns, who just barely didn't get out of the group during the Club World Cup. They were in a group with Dortmund and Fluminense and have 4 points in that group, so it shows the state of South African football compared to world football. I think we're going to see South Africa go very, very far. Bafana is going to shock the world.
Very looking forward to what happens in AFCON 2025, World Cup 2026. Lots of exciting storylines. We'll talk more. We'll see y'all next time. Thank you for watching 5ASIDE on beIN Sports.